Back on this 1983 Mercedes 300 TD, was it? I can't remember. Look at the previous video. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing with the nitrogen pressure now. Now that we know this thing was basically zero, I am going to put high pressure up the high side, kind of like flush it through, but at the same time pressurize the entire system, because I want to check what I suspect might be a leaking case, because it's original R12, and I showed you how to tell if it's an original compressor on these old Mercedes on the first video. So let's put some pressure in the system and look for a suspected leak. So the fitting I'm using, I could not get my core removal tool in here because the frame is right here and the size and the length of the core removal tool would not let me extract the core out of here. So I used the core depressing tool and my line set. And if you can see it, I'll zoom in there. So what I'm gonna do, let's see if the microphone can pick up the hiss of the high pressure nitrogen going inside. I'm gonna screw this in and it'll depress the core. Can you hear it? That's the high pressure going into the high side. So let me back out of here. And the low side is off, but you can see the low side is up at 140, 150 basically. There we go. So now the whole system has 150 psi. I don't hear anything, that's obvious. So now what I'm going to do, now to do a proper, unless it's a big leak, I'm going to look for a big leak right now, but to do a proper nitrogen pressure decay test, I would leave this open and stabilize for about 10 minutes. Walk away, go do something else. Go do your paperwork, to go do another core. And then come back and turn off the supply of nitrogen. And let's open up the low side too now, because there's no flow. Both sides are stabilized. And now you would turn off the nitrogen after 10 or 15 minutes of stabilizing and look for a pressure loss. And we have no big leak because it would instantly go, the temps would be going down and they're not. So after about 5, 10, 15 minutes of stabilization, then you would turn off your nitrogen supply, and then you would hit tightness test, tightness test. Now we're into the tightness test mode, and it'll count down how many minutes, and then over here it'll display the loss of refrigerant. So here we go. It's okay, you can go over. Sure? Yeah. And so now we're performing the tightness test, but as you can see, stagnant at this level, it's not falling. And so that doesn't mean there's not a big leak at the case. What that means is that the metal on the case is not hot. There's no vibration, harmonics, or oscillation of the pistons pounding away at the circular case. So it opens and closes like this. The little metal case goes like this, and the O-ring that would be between the two pieces of metal would literally follow and keep it sealed, because the metal literally does this. Well, when the O-ring gets old, it doesn't follow the metal moving and you get leakage. So my only way to find a leak now, because I am positively sure there is no leakage in a static situation like this performing a test. Now you have to perform a dynamic test. So now I'm going to vacuum it out, add refrigerant, and look for a leak using that method. Because I know dynamically, sitting here or statically, there's no leak. Alright, let's get on to the next video.